Yo, this your bruh True Jew here with an update on the Uvalde school shooting, the Uvalde, Texas school shooting. Look, this story is not adding up. It's not making sense. And I'm going to hit y'all with some quick observations that I made to help this thing make some sense. Okay, now listen, I'm going to be reading from some notes I had to take because there's so many points that I want to drill home with. And hopefully you'll be able to read in between the lines, not only what the stories are presenting from these different media outlets but what's provided through me to you. Look, first of all, Mexican children don't get bullied. Okay, I'm gonna be very frank with you. I'm from California. I'm from the Bay Area. Okay, we got norteños and we have sureños. We have all the different cliques in between. Mexican children are not traditionally getting bullied. Okay, they click up, they join a gang, they get money, counting hundreds and fifties, talking to chicas with big old but they do not get bullied. Okay, Mexican children don't target other Mexican children or people that they deem as being weaker than them or innocent. Whenever it's gang funk, whenever it's a problem between cliques and gangs, those cliques and gangs target one another. This is very traditional in the Mexican community. You don't never hear about Mexican people going outside of their own communities or outside of their own issues with those who they have issues with targeting other individuals. That was a red flag to me off top when I started reading this story, y'all. Look, also, Uvalde Police Department is not mentioned in a single news article that I've read. Not one time did we hear mention of the Uvalde Police Department being involved in any way with this particular alleged incident that took place. Instead, a school resource officer. Now, this is what really got me. There's a many pieces of this story that CNN presented. Let me back up a minute. I'm getting these facts that I'm bringing forth to you from a CNN article that was presented earlier, and it seems to be getting updated as the story is being built up behind the scenes by the media. Okay, so look, a school resource officer allegedly engaged with the shooter, but no shots were fired. That doesn't even make sense to me. Okay, so a school resource shooter engaged with this shooter, school resource officer, excuse me, engaged with this shooter, but no shots were fired when the school resource officer encountered the alleged shooter. Okay, now this is after the shooter allegedly entered through the back door of the school. So the shooter allegedly enters through the back door of the school grounds, then engages with the school resource officer, but the school resource officer doesn't feel threatened enough to pull the trigger on this so-called shooter once the engagement took place. Look, it gets crazier than that. The suspect then dropped a bag full of ammunition outside of the school building after engaging with the school recess officer and then ran inside. Now, y'all, there's going to be points of this that simply don't make sense because the story itself does not make sense, okay? Check this out. The suspect dropped a bag full of ammunition outside of the school building, according to CNN reporters, after engaging with the school resource officer and then ran inside. But I thought he was already inside of school grounds when he engaged with the school resource officer. It doesn't stop there. Department of Public Safety is investigating what happened with the school resource officer. So now this is why I mentioned Uvalde Police Department. Not one time is Uvalde Police Department mentioned, but the Department of Safety will be mentioned, as well as Border Patrol, okay, as well as the ATF and other high-ranking organizations, right? Or high-ranking authorities. Now, first, the article states that the shooter barricaded adjoining classrooms. Now, this is a problem to me because the newspaper articles or the news articles also say that all of the so called victims were targeted from one classroom. So, when you have an adjoining classroom situation, well, how I remember in school, a teacher might step out and there's a door in between both classrooms, so the door is open so that the teacher who stays at her or his desk can kind of look through both classrooms at the same time. Well, according to the newspaper article, the shooter adjoined, barricaded adjoining classrooms and then killed all of his victims in one classroom. But the alleged victims were supposedly only located in one classroom. It gets crazier. The authorities didn't have sufficient manpower, right? But they decided to begin breaking windows around the school to supposedly rescue other children and teachers. Aren't there school shooting protocols in place? When you hear a gunshot, I remember in school, we had school shooting protocols in place once the Columbine incident took place, okay? So these school shooters are shooting, if that's what the case is. The other teachers have protocols in place to either stay in the classroom or exit in a swift manner. Why are the officers or authorities on call breaking other classroom windows? Okay, so that's something that really stuck out to me. Then a specialized tactical team forced their way into classrooms and shot the suspect. Now, according to the newspaper or the news article, a lone border patrol agent is the one who shot the suspect. It's not making sense, y'all. Help me help you make this make sense by reading in between the lines, okay? So where did this specialized tactical team come from? Okay, if they didn't have the proper manpower, where did the specialized tactical team come from in time to then enter into the classrooms and then shoot the school shooter? But I thought that it was a lone border patrol agent that shot the school shooter, according to this article. Next, the suspect dropped the backpack with several mags of ammunition near the entrance of the school, according to authorities. I thought the suspect entered through the back door of the school grounds. Okay, everything I'm reporting to y'all right now, this is what I got from the newspaper article, the news article, and I will leave it in the description. Okay, before they try to change it again. Listen, next, the shooter allegedly has no friends, but there are many people making statements who knew the suspect personally and who the news article claims were close to the suspect. Then I keep seeing images of people in pain with no tears or watery eyes. To me, that signifies crisis actors. I want y'all to make your own deductions from what I'm bringing forth to you. Next, we got high profile athletes and coaches who are being used to spread misinformation and gun control propaganda. I kid you not. After the post game from the Warriors and Mavericks the other night, I saw Steve Kerr making statements regarding this incident, and he was crying dry tears. Okay, there were no tears coming from his eyes. He was banging on the desk, on the table, acting as if he really wanted gun control, begging senators across all of the nation to do something about this. When are we going to have enough? But there were actually no tears falling from his eyes. The story the media gives us continues to change. Reports are stating that the shooting took place in a single classroom, like I said, but also adjoining classrooms were targeted. Next, the Department of Public Safety seems to have all the intel, but weren't even there during the alleged incident. I think the most troubling aspect of this is how the Latino and Hispanic community is being dragged into this propaganda. Okay, the Latino and Hispanic community is being targeted at this time, in my opinion, because they have an increased population of numbers that could swing a vote in the direction of the propaganda. You see the senator involved, Ronald Gutierrez. I'm sure he was placed in the senator position due to the Latino and Hispanic community. Okay, now the Latino community does not commit crimes like this. There's no record of a Latino or Hispanic community member going out and committing a heinous crime such as this. But why is the Latino and Hispanic community now being targeted? Usually, no offense to my European descent viewers of this, but it's usually young white males who go into establishments doing this sort of act. All of a sudden, we see a young Latino or Hispanic community member allegedly doing an act like this to get the Latino community targeted and riled up to make a change for a Second Amendment gun right that should not be changed or targeted at all. Also, I know for a fact the Latino community does not do anything like this because they already have the target of deportation on their backs. They don't want any extra attention. Listen, y'all, out of all the authorities that hit the scene, like I told you, a lone Border Patrol agent is the one who fatally shot the suspect. But Uvalde, Texas is an hour and 14 minutes away from the nearest border town, which is Piedras Negras. Okay? Now, that's a border town on the Mexican side of the border, but near Texas. How was this Border Patrol agent so close to the school, at the school, allegedly to be able to kill the suspect, but not in place to stop the suspect when the suspect first pulled up? I don't get it. It doesn't make sense because it doesn't make sense. School safety officers actually engaged with the alleged shooter and did nada, nothing to stop this student or to stop this high school student from engaging with these children, allegedly, okay? Now, Salvador Ramos did have friends. Salvador Ramos is the name of the individual that they targeted to be the alleged shooter. He even played Xbox with his friends, y'all. He played Xbox. He was on social media. He was on Snapchat, IG, Facebook. He also had friends he FaceTimed with daily who was well off. And listen, he FaceTime with these people daily. Now, FaceTime means he has Apple products. If he has Apple products, that means he was well off enough to afford Apple products. And this does not sound like someone who was being bullied. Okay. If they have Apple products, 9 times out of 10, they're considered the cool kids. Okay. So if he had enough Apple products to FaceTime and get on Facebook and get on Snapchat and IG, that doesn't sound like somebody being bullied, y'all. Salvador Ramos was not deprived of outside interaction like the media is portraying. The character assassination of the alleged shooter is targeting Latinos and Hispanics and is painting the picture of a loner with no friends who was bullied. His ethnicity is being highlighted and his ability to legally procure weapons. However, during the same time frame, he found time to post and brag about his fights on Snapchat and IG that he allegedly had due to being bullied. A bullied child does not go on then and post fights of him allegedly being beat down because he was bullied. Now, State Senator Ronald Gutierrez, who I mentioned earlier, who represents Uvalde, says the weapons purchased were purchased a week ago on the shooter's 18th birthday. How does he know this? He's also quoted as saying it's the first thing he did when he turned 18. How does he know this? Sounds like propaganda to me. Salvador allegedly shot his granny. Now, this one got me, y'all. Salvador allegedly shot his grandmother before he went to the school, but he didn't finish the job. Okay, so he shoots his grandmother, who he has some problems with allegedly, and he had all the time to do so before going to the school, but he didn't finish the job of killing her. The media, and I'm thankful that he didn't, if that's what he did. The media is targeting immigration rights in this story too. That's why I mentioned deportation. Most Mexican Americans are not trying to bring any attention to themselves at all. And we all know this. We've seen so many different media outlets, and we have friends who would not never bring no attention to themselves like this. This has also become an international story at this point because the shooter was allegedly in contact with a 15-year-old German girl who he frequently FaceTime and spoke with on Facebook. He had friends who the media says were close to him, while also stating he was a loner. Who never noticed the strange behavior that he supposedly exhibited. And when they did get so-called text messages from him, these same students and friends didn't seem that it was necessary to reach out to any adults. Okay, and none of these friends have been identified by the media. AR-15s are again, the good old AR-15 is to blame for the incident, along with 375 rounds of ammo. Now, 375 rounds of ammo is not a lot of ammunition, but the media is painting it as it is. Also, the poor company Daniel Defense has been named by the media as a manufacturer of one of the weapons. Now, I'm sure Daniel Defense has sponsored the NRA in some form or fashion. Do your due diligence and see if I'm telling the truth on that one and see if the facts line up. But why was Daniel Defense targeted, right? Ramos allegedly wrote, texted, I'm about to some of his friends, but he didn't finish what he was texting. But the media decided to finish his text with, I'm about to shoot up an elementary school. So he didn't write that text. The media wrote it for him. CNN issued story. Lastly, this one got me the most. The CNN issued story was written by 8 different individuals. So this article is looking more like a hit song than it's looking like an actual news article. If you look at the credits of a movie or you follow your favorite artist, you'll see that most of the time they don't even write their music. There's a team of writers. So why does it take a team of writers to formulate this article, y'all? Listen, I'm smelling BS all across the board. I hope that you viewers are able to recognize what's going on and able to make some real sense about this yourselves. Stand strong because we have the media against everyday people. We have the media standing against the citizens of this nation, continually pumping propaganda that's not true in an effort to remove our arms from us, in an effort to remove our weapons from us. Look, it's your bruh, True Jew. All I could do was hit you with the truth as it was blessed to me. Most High Mama and Papa willing, I'll be back with another story. If I gotta touch on this again, I will. I hope to go live soon, okay? So listen, y'all continue to support me, continue to support the channel just by viewing, just by leaving comments. It's all good. You know I love you to life, and I only want the truth to prevail, and I want justice to be reached at all costs. I thank you for tuning in, and I got you till next time. Gone.